I'll just come over here for a second if you would. What the heck is that? So this rock was obviously placed here by a backhoe or some excavator or something like that. Do you see it has these lines on it? This is called Glacial Grooves. So this one was moved so we can never really know which way it was oriented. However, we can know because of these grooves. Now this glacier, 14,000 years ago, where we're standing right now was underneath a mile of ice called the Laurentian Glacier, the Laurentian ice sheet. And we're about 1,000 feet now, so multiply that by whatever, 5. We're in this immense ice sheet filled with boulders the size of barns and cars and buses and apartment buildings, moving inexorably southward. Going as far south as Long Island, Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, Manhattan Island, northern New Jersey, and stopping. Like somebody put the brakes on 14,000 years ago. What happened? Anybody know?
Got warm?
Climate change, global warming happened 14,000 years ago and has been happening periodically for millions and millions of years. Climate does this. It's periodic. There's a deep time, a deep cycle that's happening that we don't clearly understand. Now, all that stuff that was in the glacier, that was in the ice sheet, got deposited, just dropped. And if I remember from earth science, it's called an esker, terminal moraine or an esker, right? And I'm learning about Long Island more and more as I do this, and I meet more and more people from Long Island who share their stories and experiences. Hey, the North Shore of Long Island is real rocky. It's got cliffs. It even has an altitude of 370 feet or something. South Shore of Long Island, where my fiance lives in Long Beach, is all sand. So if you think about it, as this stuff is melting down, the heavier stuff falls down and the lighter stuff gets washed out into an alluvial plain, right? So these grooves, whenever you find them on bedrock here and you lined up with those grooves, you'd end up in 59th Street Bridge. You know, you'd go right to Manhattan Island if you followed that bearing, okay? And another thing about this is, you guys can feel free to come up here and feel how smooth this is. I would call this sort of kind of smooth, and it's smooth. Feel that? How smooth that is? I would call this sort of kind of smooth. This is not the smooth, glacial polished stuff that we'll find on some of the exposed bedrock here. Some of the exposed bedrock, it is polished so smooth like a master stonecutter came in with their power diamond buffers and buffed it down. Yeah, he's like, oh my God, can't keep the tourists off the wall. Bring that right to my driveway. So some of these places on the bedrock where it's been polished, it is so shiny if the sun glares off it. It's like it's coming off a mirror. That's 14,000 years of wear. 14,000 years and it's still shiny as glass. 14,000 years of freezing and thawing. 14,000 years of high winds and wind-blown debris and all that stuff, and it's still, so that's a testament to the durability of this rock. Another thing we'll see, I'll try my best to point them out, are what's called chatter marks. The chatter marks, if you think about that glacier and all that kinetic energy, all that downward force, filled with all this mass, and as it's moving along, sometimes it gets stuck. And when all the force builds up, and it'll lurch forward, and as it lurches and as it moves, it creates chatter marks. Chatter marks I would equate to scratching your nails on a blackboard, or taking a pencil eraser and holding it square on your kitchen table and going, brrr, you know the way you can do that with an eraser? That's the best, simplest example I can give of a chatter mark. All right, so we'll see some of those along the trail as well. One other thing, polish, I've covered them all. Grooves, chatter marks, and glacial polishing. So these are all tracks, these are all evidence of that glacial past that is so much an important part of the history here. Okay, so shall we?